cold front with precipitation moving down the peninsula during the next 24 to 36 hours. Then the next front with precipitation again the end of next week. Minimum temperatures for this coming weekend.
On certain freeze nights, you had to know whether to run the water or not. We found that by running the water, we could actually make a difference of 2 degrees, and that's the difference of living or dying.
In an industry at the mercy of the elements, growers need every advantage to prevent crop loss. In the late 1960s, young County Extension Agent John Jackson was determined to find a way for growers to have access to accurate weather information. His initial approach would be a telephone call-in service known as Weather Watch.
Back in those days, National Weather Service had an ag program. They put out forecasts, and they gave growers an indication of what nights it was going to get cold and just how cold.
The success of Weather Watch was indicative of John's ability to identify and overcome adversities facing the agriculture industry. John began his career with the University of Florida's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences in 1968. Over the next 38 years, as an IFAS extension agent, John served and supported growers across 7 Central Florida counties.
As an extension agent, you're kind of a conduit. You get information from researchers and you pass it on to growers. Growers tell you problems and you pass it on to researchers to get solutions.
John was not only an excellent agent, but he was a friend to most of his growers. And he did that by exuding this confidence in those growers that they could innovate and meet the challenges as they came.
In the early 80s, the city of Orlando and Orange County were discharging effluent from their water treatment plants into Shingle Creek. EPA mandated this stop, and the city and county devised a solution called Water Conserve 2. The plan called for reclaimed water to be utilized by citrus growers for irrigation and cold protection, as well as land spreading it into rapid infiltration basins called RIBs.
The growers were not the easiest group to sign up for reclaimed water. That was something new. They were unsure if it would be a good irrigation source. They were unsure if it would make their crops unsaleable or possibly devalue their land.
To evaluate the safety of reclaimed water, the Mid-Florida Citrus Foundation was organized as the research arm of Water Conserve 2. John was selected to manage the project, a position he held for over 20 years.
And John was naturally the first choice to be manager of it because he knew what he was doing. He's a doer, he's not a talker.
The initial research work was involving reclaimed water. So we put various rates of reclaimed water out to see what was going to be the impact on trees.
The results proved that reclaimed water was a viable alternative for growers. Water Conserve 2 was a win-win situation. The city and county found a place to dispose reclaimed water, and citrus growers obtained a low-cost solution for irrigation and cold protection. John knew that bringing people together is the fastest way to find solutions. In the early 1970s, he facilitated educational tours that allowed growers from around the world to meet face-to-face, discuss their challenges, and share the solutions they've found.
You hear things, but when you really go and talk to a grower and find out what they're doing and how they're handling it, it's a whole lot different.
In 1975, John began offering the Equipment Operators School, a day-long workshop that engaged its participants in learning exercises and instilled in them pride in their organization. John also started a youth mentorship program known as the Central Florida 4-H Citrus Project. Over the course of 20 years, the program helped students learn valuable skills while emphasizing the importance of the citrus industry to Florida.
John understands the value of contributing to his local community. This is a very valuable resource to any community to have people that will make that commitment like John has done.
That commitment could be seen in John's work with the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame. In 1976, John was elected to the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame Selection Committee, but by the time he was elected chairman in 2006, the Hall of Fame was in decline.
Citrus Hall of Fame's got a great history, but it had fallen apart. John was really instrumental and went all over the state talking to growers about the importance of it and the fact that it needed to be saved.
Under John's stewardship, the institution was rejuvenated. In 2012, the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame proudly celebrated its 50th anniversary. When he assumed the leadership role, the Hall of Fame was broke and in fact had to borrow $25,000 to become autonomous. It was actually part of the Polk County Fair Association. Today, the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame is aligned with Florida Southern College, has a $350,000 endowment supporting 4 student fellowships, and has a bank account substantial enough to conduct a strong outreach program to tell the story of the Florida citrus industry.
John served as a member of and president more recently of the Citrus Hall of Fame Committee for 42 years. Who serves an organization for 42 years anymore?
Over the years, John remained committed to providing growers the most accurate weather information available. In 1996, the National Weather Service discontinued the agricultural program and ag weather forecasts. That year, an unusual freeze inflicted tremendous damage to vegetable growers in South Florida. An ag weather task force was established to find a replacement to the now absent ag forecasts. John proposed a network of automated weather towers located in rural areas near farms and groves. The Florida Automated Weather Network, or FAWN, would provide the local data growers needed. With the help of his colleague David Ayers, who designed and provided the technical support, the pair performed the labor-intensive task of installing 12 FAWN towers.
I had a little network going in this area, and we were familiar with what could be done to collect real-time weather data.
John saw this as an opportunity to expand FAWN to growers throughout Florida. He secured funding to complete Phase 2 of the network, which would add an additional 15 FAWN towers across the state.
John had been running a weather program with FAWN. It just upped the amount of information that was available and allowed us to use computers to access.
John also developed the FAWN Cold Protection Toolkit, which helps growers identify precisely when to turn off irrigation systems and, in turn, save billions of gallons of water.
We saved a huge amount of water with FAWN and Weather Watch programs because we didn't turn on too long and we knew when to shut off. We didn't run too late, and probably cut water consumption during freezes by 20–30%.
John's vision and accomplishments were recognized by USDA. He is the only county agent in Florida to have received 2 Superior Service Awards, one for his efforts with FAWN and the other for Water Conserve 2. In 2006, John retired from his role as an IFAS extension agent. But when citrus greening attacked the state's citrus groves, John assumed the mantle of Executive Director of the Florida Citrus Industry Research Coordinating Council. He was instrumental in obtaining new 24C labeling for 4 separate pesticides needed for low-volume use to fight the Asian citrus psyllid, the carrier of the devastating greening disease.
The pesticide laws are just very difficult to navigate, and most of us growers just get stuck in that and don't know how to move forward. John was very persistent and very persuasive and explained to them not only how important it was for the survival of the citrus industry, but also how we would do it in an environmentally friendly way and responsible way.
He just simply is dedicated to what he does. He's committed to what he does. He does it very, very well, and he serves easily as a model of a man who never met a stranger.
John is just a great person to know and have as a friend.
At home, John cherishes spending time with his grandchildren. He also keeps in touch with the friends he's made over his long career. In 2011, John and his close friend Dixie Royal planned a lunch for their mutual friends. To their delight, almost 100 people showed up. This tight-knit group of industry folks became known as the Mature Mentors, and they still gather for annual luncheons. To keep its members connected, John began sending out an informal newsletter in The Loop, and today it has almost 200 subscribers. John has frequent lunches with as many of his industry friends as possible and shares their stories in the newsletter. John Jackson is a family man at heart, and Florida agriculture has been blessed to have him be a part of our family.
I had the perfect job and I loved every minute of it.